Welcome to Gurukul's Cat 100 series, a series that's designed specifically to take you from your study room to the corporate boardroom. I am Prady Sharma, and this is Verbal Mastery with Prady.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another video of Gurukul's Cat 100-day series, 100 days race to cat. Now, if you want to take this up as a test, then all you've got to do is go on to www.thegurukul.org.in and sign up for the 100 days to cat test series. If you want to continue along with this video, then this is your first question. Pause the video over here, answer this question, and then we'll move on to the second question. This is your second question. Pause the video here, answer this question, and then we'll move on to the third question. This is your third question. Pause the video here, answer this question, and then we'll move on to the fourth question. This is your fourth question, guys. Pause the video here, answer this question, and then we'll move on to the fifth question. This is your fifth question. Pause the video here, answer this question, and once you're done, comment down all your answers so that we can check how many you've gotten correct. Let's quickly move into the explanations of all these questions. Now, the first question is a para summary type question. So let's read the paragraph and try to understand what are the main ideas in this paragraph, and then we'll go on into the options. Misinformation disseminated. Disseminated means spread through. Okay, mainstream media or the internet causes far-reaching harm to the gullible public. Okay, so what's he say? He's talking about misinformation. That's the theme of this entire passage, and he's saying that yes, when this misinformation goes through mainstream media, that means TV outlets and all, there's a harm that's caused to the gullible public. What is gullible? We can think of gullible over here as innocent. Actually, gullible is someone who can be taken advantage of, which is not able to differentiate the truth from falsehood. So this public is not able to differentiate what is true and what is false. The controversy surrounding the Wire and Meta over an article claiming the ruling party had privileges on Instagram to censor posts is an example of how even credible news outlets can fall prey to the monster of misinformation. So here, what's he doing over here? From here till this part, he's just giving us one example, okay, about a news outlet called The Wire and obviously Meta. Okay, Meta is what? Meta is the parent company of Instagram, Facebook, and all of these things. So he's saying that there was an article on The Wire which told that the ruling party had some kind of an extra privilege to censor, that means to block certain posts on Instagram. Now, obviously, that's a misinformation apparently, okay, but even very credible news sources are falling prey to it, okay, that's what he's saying. With advanced manipulation in the atmosphere of hatred, polarization, and divisive politics, and with elections around the corner, the reality of fake news is waiting to devour true journalism. So, what's he saying? In this current scenario, okay, in this current atmosphere, this misinformation or fake news is eating up the true journalism. So what should be done? In this context, it's more important that the journalists apply the core principles of journalism to have ears to the ground and listen to the feeble voices and to speak from the heart, to be prophetic communicators who participate in the joys, fears, hopes, and suffering of the women and men of our time. So he's also giving a solution over here. He wants the journalists to listen to the feeble voices. That means listen to the public. He wants the ears to be on the ground, okay, and not just put down whatever they hear. They want to, they want the journalists to be prophetic communicators. Prophetic communicators are those people who are able to tell with insights that they have on the data, not just presenting the data as is, okay. So that they can participate in the joys, fears, hopes. That means they could be one with the public and communicate to the public effectively. Now that we've understood this passage, let's go into the questions. Misinformation can even infiltrate credible news sources, causing widespread harm, especially in a politically charged environment. Journalists must adhere to the core principles to maintain integrity. Fair enough. It covers all the ideas, and whatever examples are presented, it implies those examples. So this is a good option. Okay. Now let's look at the second option. Dispute between the Wire and Meta illustrates rapid dissemination of the false information during election and emphasizes the need for journalists to prioritize direct engagement with the public. Now, over here, there are two problems that I have. First things first, this is very example heavy. Okay, it is focusing more on the example to bring out the idea. But this example was just to exemplify, right? It was not to bring out the idea. There's an idea which was exemplified by the example. So here it's kind of too heavy on the example. Second thing, he talks about during elections only. So this is becoming a little more specific. Now over here, do you see he's talking about the widespread harm? So this is a little more broad compared to the second one. Okay, so amongst 1 and 2, I would definitely choose 1 to be a better summary than 2. So I'm going to remove 2. Third one. The proliferation of false information poses a substantial menace to the field of journalism. Okay, again, now here, my first problem that I have right now is that he's talking about a substantial menace, that means a big problem, big trouble, let's just simplify it further, big trouble to the field of journalism, but according to the passage it is to the gullible public. No, the harm is to the gullible public, right? So this part is clearly mismatching the idea altogether. So I can remove this. Fourth one, the spread of misinformation through media outlets, including credible ones, has detrimental effects, necessitating a stronger commitment from journalists to engage with the public. Again, this part is too broad. It does not touch the specifics of either politics. Okay, neither does it really touch the problem about who it is harming. It's just very surface level a summary. Okay, so out of these four, we can consider one to be our best possible answer. So one will be our answer. Now let's move on to the second question. Again, the second question is also a para summary type of a question. So a challenge for objective science of consciousness is to dissect an essentially subjective phenomena. As investigators cannot experience another subject's conscious state, they rely on the subject's observable behavior to track consciousness. So what I understand over here so far is that we're talking about certain challenge or certain difficulty, okay, for objective science, this field of science, to discuss the topic of consciousness. And why can this topic of consciousness not be discussed objectively? Because it is definitely a subjective phenomena, and many investigators, okay, no one in fact, can experience another subject's conscious states. So what has to be done? They have to rely on the subject's observable behavior to track consciousness. Now, priority is given to a subject's introspective reports as these express the subject's take on her experience. Okay, so there's some kind of priority which is given to the introspective reports of the subject. Introspection thus provides a fundamental way, perhaps a fundamental way to track consciousness. Fair enough. That said, consciousness pervasively influences human behavior and affects physiological responses. So other forms of behavioral and physiological data beyond introspective reports provide a window on consciousness. So not only subjects' introspective reports, but I'll also have to look at behavior and physiological data as well to understand about consciousness. How to leverage disparate evidence is central issue. Disparate means distinct. So what is he talking about here in this last line? This last line is very important. How to leverage disparate evidence is central issue. Now see, we have three sorts of, data, right? We have introspective reports, we have behavioral data, and we have physiological data. Correct? So how do I combine these three and then leverage this data is what is being asked in the last issue. So the challenge of understanding consciousness as an objective science depends on these three things. Okay, now let's look at the options. The primary challenge in scientific study of consciousness is its inherent subjectivity. So far so good, making researchers rely on introspective reports and observable behavior while struggling to integrate various forms of evidence. Now see, over here there's no struggle to integrate things. So this part, the tone is mismatched. Second thing, we do not look at physiological data at all in this particular summary. So obviously, if I have a better summary than this, I will definitely go for this and eliminate the first one. So second one, the study of consciousness is difficult due to its subjective nature. Fair enough. Requiring researchers to prioritize introspective reports, exactly matching the tone of what has been given to me in the paragraph. And also consider behavior and physiological data. Fair enough. So definitely better than the first summary. Okay, with the main issue being how to integrate these sources. That's what we've understood. That's what it looks like. So to me, 2 becomes way better than 1. So I'm going to eliminate 1. So far 2 is a better summary. Let's look at the third one now. Objective science finds it challenging to study consciousness because it is subjective. Fair enough. Relying heavily on its introspective reports while also considering behavioral and physiological responses. The main challenge is differentiating these types of evidences. Again, the challenge is not to differentiate, the challenge is to how to combine. How do we bring them together? So definitely tone mismatch, we can take third one off. Fourth one, consciousness is a subjective phenomenon that poses challenges for objective science. Fair enough. With researchers using introspective reports and other behavioral and physiological data. And central issue is how to control these diverse forms. Again, the point is not about controlling diverse forms of evidence. We are talking about how to bring all of them together. So again, another tone mismatch. The best possible answer for me becomes the second option. Now let's go to the third question. The belief that money can't buy happiness was cemented as truth after a widely publicized 2010 study that emotional well-being rose with income only up to the relatively modest household income of $75,000. Okay, so what's the idea that we can understand from here? Okay, up till $75,000, okay, I get my money, my emotional well-being also rises. Beyond this, what happens? Even if you increase the money, there is no rise on emotional well-being. So above $75,000, there is no change. That's what I understand. After this point, these people, both are noble, found that happiness plateaued. That means it stayed the same. It did not increase. An increase in income brought no additional joy. Fair enough. So till this part, this is what is our idea. But in March 2023, a new study showed that the money can buy happiness. After all, money actually does increase happiness well beyond the 75,000 inflation threshold, overturning the previous research. So this happened in 2010. In 2023, a new report or a new study basically said that the 2010 study was wrong. Okay. Now, what did this new study do? The researchers found that even among people earning $2 lakhs or more, additional money continues to yield additional happiness. Okay. So what did they say? There is a $2 lakh or more earning people, but more the money, more the happiness for them. Okay, great. There does not seem to be a limit on money's influence on well-being. So it's not only 2 lakh or more. There's no limit on how much money can stop happiness. Okay, money, you keep earning, you keep being happy is what they're saying. All right. The exception researchers note is severely unhappy people who are enduring bereavement, heartbreak, or conditions like depression, whose distress may be alleviated. That means their distress may be taken off. Okay, a little bit of it at least can be removed by some additional funds, but not beyond 100,000 an year. Okay, fair enough. So what do I have? I have old study, new study rejecting the old study, new studies data, and obviously the exceptions to this new study. This is how the entire paragraph is presented to us. Now let's look at the option. A new study challenges the belief that happiness plateaus at 75,000, showing it increases with income beyond this point. Fair enough. It's a good option. If I do not find any better option, I'll go with this option as my correct answer because it covers whatever I have. There's a new study which challenges the old study. But the one problem that I have over here is that word, the belief. Okay, because it was not the belief, no, it was the research finding, it was a conclusion, right? So me calling it belief somewhere feels a little odd to me. So still a good option. If I don't find any better option, I will go with this. Second one, happiness continues to rise with income even for those earning over $2 lakh according to a recent research. Now, fair enough, but it does not talk about negating the old study, it does not talk about exception, nothing. So I'm going to remove this. Third one, influence of money on happiness varies, increasing significantly for most people beyond $75,000. First things first, when you say it varies, we have not talked about how it varies. Second thing, what do you mean by most people beyond $75,000? He said that mostly, see, he did not say how many people or anything, no? So it's a wrong characterization of the research that's been given. So we can take this off. Fourth one, severely unhappy people gain some relief from more income but not significantly beyond $100,000. Fair enough, this option actually captures the exception, but the problem is it only captures the exception. It does not capture the ideas whatsoever. So definitely I am not going to say that fourth one is my correct option. In 1, 2, 3 and 4, the best option so far is the first option. It covers most of the ideas in the same tone as possible. So we will consider 1 as our correct answer. Now let's go to the next question. Now this question is a para-jumble type of question. So let's quickly read through all the 4 sentences and try to understand what these sentences are talking about. Instead, there's something vital about dance performance and events that disappears as it is being performed. Okay, fair enough. Now, first things first, when he says instead of what? That's my question, right? So clearly the subject line in this is about dance performances. So maybe this paragraph could be about dance performances or something related is what I should be thinking about. Second one, a catch-all phrase for this sort of impermanence is to say that dance is an ephemeral art. So there are two, three words that I would like to tell you about. First thing, what is a catch-all phrase? A catch-all phrase is nothing but a general term, okay, that holds through all the what do I call, all the topics that are under that umbrella. Second one, this sort of impermanence Now, impermeance means something that's not going through. Okay, something that's still on the surface level. And third one is ephemeral. Ephemeral means short-lived. Okay, something that stays only for a little while. Yes, okay. Third one, this does not mean that dance is insubstantial or unserious. Okay, fair enough. Now, what does not mean? Now, if you look at 2 and 3, I can say that there exists some kind of a relation. Why? Because in general, if something is not existing, then or if something is only on the surface level, then we are saying that dance is an ephemeral art. That means very short-lived. But that does not mean that it's insubstantial. That does not mean it's not important. Right? So very clearly I can see that these two are opposing each other. So maybe, so far, 2, 3 could be a pair. Okay. Again, by that logic, if I'm looking at 1, okay, instead there's something vital about dance performances. Okay, so here I'm saying that it is not, you can't say that it's not important, and here I'm saying that it is important. So maybe these two are going together. That also I can understand. So another pair that I can look at is 3, 1. Okay, now let's look at the fourth statement. One of the features of dance as a performing art that is being often noted is that it moves and it changes both during the course of any given performance and over time. Now, here when we are looking at this statement feels like it's a very general statement, right, which is introducing the features of dance as a performing art. So I would say that the whole paragraph basically starts with 4 being the most general statement. Obviously 2, 3 are a pair and 3, 1 are a pair, so the answer should be 4, 2, 3 and then 1. Now let's go to the last question of this test. Now this question is also a ParaJumble type of question, so let's read all the 4 sentences and then try to understand what's happening. How far should it be the mission of the rule of law to eliminate or reduce the amount of discretion in the way a society is governed? So very clearly I'm having a questioning statement, and what is this statement basically questioning? He's asking how much of a how much can we let rule of law to reduce the amount of discretion it is having in the way society is governed. So how much can we allow law to talk about how the society is governed? Some condemn this as an extravagant position, arguing that discretion is interminable in the modern administrative state. Okay, when I read this sentence and I see some condemn this, my first question is, what do they condemn? And especially when he's saying that some condemn this as an extravagant position. Okay, so what is that extravagant position altogether? That's my question over here. 3. The rule of law is not to eliminate discretion but to ensure that it is properly framed and authorized, and that the application of rules and judicial procedures is preserved for those cases where liberty and well-being are most seriously at stake. Now, probably, if you look at it, this looks like a stand that the author has taken about what is the discretion or how much should be the discretion of rule of law. Probably this extravagant position could be about this statement, is what I can think. Now, fourth one. Some jurists insist that official discretion is inherently antithetical to the rule of law. Okay, look at this. Here I am questioning something and then I'm getting an answer. Okay, that some jurists think that the discretion, official discretion is antithetical, opposite to the rule of law. Okay, then I get a statement, a stand of how much of the rule of law is necessary. And then I get a opposition, I get a condemnation for that. So, in my opinion, the best way to go forward with this is come with a question, show a part of the people's response, then the stand, and then finally my position of the extravagant position about what is being given. So the correct answer should be 1, 4, 3 and 2. So with this we come to the end of this test. If you like this video, please drop a like button, subscribe to this channel and share this with all your friends who are interested to prepare for CAT 2025 but do not have enough resources.
Hope you enjoyed learning from today's session.
This series is designed to help you with your CAT preparation and practice daily. We are with you in this journey.
To watch the next video, click here. And to watch Gurukul's CAT 100 series, study room to boardroom, the entire playlist, click here.
If you learned from today's session, like, share and subscribe.